1045 ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045 ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Chiefs kick off the new NFL season at home tonight against the Lions. The reigning champs are without defensive end Chris Jones, who wants a new contract, and maybe without tight end Travis Kelce with a hyperextended knee. ESPN's Troy Aikman believes this is a tough game for the Lions.
It's still going to be a monumental task for them to go on the road, defending Super Bowl champs, playing on the road like that. I always feel like the Super Bowl champ comes into week one, still riding that high off of the Super Bowl, and they're hard to beat that first week of the season.
Troy Aikman, Buccaneers wideout Mike Evans still hoping for a new deal by Saturday. If not, he says there'll be no negotiations during the season. The Bucs play their opener Sunday on the road against the Vikings. More social media blasts targeted at the Raiders from defensive end Chandler Jones. Jones says the Raiders sent someone from a crisis response team to his home. He missed multiple training camp practices for undisclosed reasons and earlier said he no longer wanted to play for the Raiders.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, we are loaded today. Paulie, Muse, and I will make our 2023 NFL picks, our fantasy blitz later this hour. We will go up to Grambling and take a peek at the Tigers. Former NFL GM Michael Lombardi will be here. Ryan Clark will be here. Mike Triplett will be here. We got a ton to do, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, it was a historic day for LSU women's basketball, which I will get to in a second. However, let us start here. Coming out of Saturday's loss to Florida State, there were probably two gigantic questions that people had, one on either side of the ball. One was, of course, the thing that everybody talks about, pushing the ball down the field with quarterbacks. The other is, why did Harold Perkins disappear? We saw this guy as an elite pass rusher a year ago where he didn't really even start until after the Ole Miss game is when the light bulb came on. He went in, the whole game changed, and then he had an All-American season after that. And we all looked and said, are you overthinking things by trying to reinvent the wheel by putting that guy inside as an off-ball linebacker? Derry Beckwith was here earlier this week, said the same thing. Basically, everybody said the same thing. On Monday, Brian Kelly was asked that. I think the way the question was phrased was, can you afford not to have Harold Perkins rushing the passer?
Certainly a question that we have talked about. There's a lot going on, and you could clearly look at Harold and what he's asked to do versus, lining him up off the edge. player development has to be thought about. Where he goes at the next level has to be thought about, and then impacting our team. So I think that there's a happy medium there that we could probably strike, and we've already begun to look at how we can be most effective for Harold and for LSU.
Okay, that's fantastic news. Already started to look at it. How can we be most effective for Harold and for LSU? That was on Tuesday. About 36 hours, not even 36 hours later. Let's call it 30 hours later. LSU has practice, and after practice, players meet with the media. Among them were Jaden Daniels, Mason Smith got to speak to the media. That was really cool. Noah Kane met with the media, and Omar Spates. Omar Spates is a linebacker, all-conference linebacker during his time there at Oregon State. Really good player. Played alongside Harold Perkins in that off-ball linebacker spot this past weekend against Florida State. And you asked the question to Brian Kelly. You can ask it to a linebacker. Hey, man, y'all going to move Harold Perkins back into his old role this week? Here's what Omar Spates said.
I think this week we're going to put him in more outside the box, like let him be him type stuff this week. So bring Greg Penn back in the box, open up some opportunities for him. I think it's going to be good this week.
Now the truth shall set you free. Sometimes you just got to ask a 22-year-old. Don't ask the 60-year-old that's been coaching football for 33 years, been a head coach for that long, who knows how to sort of deftly maneuver around your questions. Go ask the kid, hey, man, what y'all going to do with Harold Perkins? Yeah, we're going to bring Greg Penn back in the box. I want to remind you, Micah Baskerville led LSU in tackles a year ago with 89. Greg Penn had 78. He was the second leading tackler on the team. I'm not telling you that Greg Penn is as physically imposing or as much of a game changer as Harold Perkins. But Greg Penn is your prototype. He's 6'2", 235. He is that big-bodied off-ball linebacker that you playing in the middle of a defense that stuffs the run and you hope can be mobile enough to turn and run if he needs to guard a tight end. You probably, if you're a really heady offensive coordinator, you'll create some mismatches there. And there's a reason why LSU had a nice rotation there at linebacker. And sometimes you saw Greg Penn come off the field a year ago, and they would go to a dime package where you'd see more safeties on the field. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And we saw Matt House do it really effectively a year ago, but we also saw Greg Penn play in 14 games and have 78 tackles and 6 TFLs and 3 pass breakups and 3 quarterback hurries, and he had a fumble recovery, and he had a really, really productive year as a rotational piece. So today, September the 7th, 2023, in the year of our Lord, 2023, Greg Penn is a better off-ball linebacker today than Harold Perkins. Now, if you commit Harold Perkins to being that all year and all next year, Harold Perkins is a much higher ceiling at that spot. I don't think anybody would debate that at all. Harold Perkins is a physical freak. He was a 5-star, was committed to A&M, LSU flipped him, all that stuff. There's a reason why he was what he was and why he is who he is. But can you afford to let Harold Perkins learn all season that position when your secondary is struggling and you desperately need someone to go rush the passer and you have someone who's really, really good at it? Omar Spates might have spilled the beans. Now, you're playing Grambling this week, so it really might not matter. But this would be a really good opportunity, a dress rehearsal of sorts, to see if you are going to move the chess pieces on the board a little bit, to see how it looks and to get Greg Penn running out there next to a guy like Omar Spates. Let them go side by side. You've got West Weeks as well. I've told you before, they love Whit Weeks, the freshman, 4-star freshman linebacker who's going to be a really good player in this defense. Maybe this is an opportunity to get those guys some run and see how those rotations may go. So a lot of you asked for it, and it appears as though you are going to see it on Saturday in Tiger Stadium with Harold Perkins moving back outside the box, and we'll see how it goes this weekend. with the Grambling Tigers coming in. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our Thursday shows, as always, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. You probably saw the news earlier today that LSU women's basketball coach Kim Mulkey has gotten a contract extension. It has to be approved by the Board of Supervisors. By the way, hat tip, I believe this was the Advocate who had it first via public information records request. So Advocate had it first. Kim Mulkey, 10-year, $32 million contract. That makes Kim Mulkey that's the richest contract in the history of women's basketball. If you're wondering, Gino Auriemma's contract was for $3 million per season. He signed a $15 million deal, so $3 million per. Dawn Staley has a 7-year, $22.7 million deal, which paid her an estimated $3 million this past year. So Kim Mulkey's deal moves her to $3.2 million per season. So the Kim Mulkey effect, as they say, is very real. But I would like to point this out. That is an exorbitant amount of money to pay a women's basketball coach, especially considering, and I want to point this out, LSU women's basketball, we don't have the numbers from this past year, but from the fiscal year of 2022. So if you're looking at the school year that began in August of 21, so the 21-22 school year, right? So for the fiscal year that ended in June of 2022, this was Kim Mulkey's first season at LSU. Women's basketball did $895,466 in revenue. They didn't even make $1 million. Okay? Their expenses were $7.573 million. So LSU women's basketball in Kim Mulkey's first year lost $6.6 million. Okay? Making a point here. Are you familiar with the term loss leader? So this is something that different businesses will use to attract people, and you see this in grocery stores all the time. Eggs, milk, essentials. The grocery stores don't make money on eggs and milk. They know you have to get them, so they mark them cheap. You come in to buy your eggs and milk, and hopefully while you're there, you also buy chips and cookies and whatever else you may need, right? It's a loss leader. Gas stations are like this. Gas stations don't make money on the gas. They make pennies on you filling up your vehicle with gasoline. They want you to come in and buy chips and a Coke. That's where they make their margin. LSU is never going to make money on women's basketball. Never. There's a ticket hike, by the way, that's proposed that's going to be approved by the Board of Supervisors on Friday for women's basketball. The estimates are that it should generate about an extra $300,000, $320,000 next year. I mean, that isn't even like a dent in the car. That's like one of those little bitty, like someone's car door open next to yours and it like dings your door a little bit. Like that's the impact $320K is going to do when you're in the hole by $6.6 million. And I'm here to tell you, it don't matter. Not a lick. LSU women's basketball with Kim Mulkey is a loss leader. They'll never make money on women's basketball, but it doesn't matter because with Kim Mulkey, they're going to bring so much attention to LSU as a whole that $6.6 million couldn't buy that amount of attention. If you look at the social media for LSU women's basketball, in a year under Kim Mulkey, they went from 14,000 Twitter followers to nearly 70,000. Instagram from 8,400 to 177,000. Facebook, they went from 16,000 to 94,000. The exposure on this program has been absolutely monumental. I mean, after the national championship, you got Cardi B and her, 6 million Instagram followers, whatever the number is. She changes her Instagram header to a picture of her wearing an LSU women's basketball jersey? One of the most famous artists in the world. You may not know who she is. That's fine. But you literally, like, if you were going to pay Cardi B to post for you, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not north of seven figures. She's got 165 million. 165 million Instagram followers. Her profile photo was her in an LSU jersey. Think about Olivia Dunn worth $3 million. She's got a tenth, not even a tenth of the exposure of Cardi B. The ESPYs turned into an LSU women's basketball party. They were nominated for Best Team. Angel Reese won for Best Breakthrough Athlete. She's out there doing the whole "you can't see me" thing during the ESPYs as well. It's stunning. I mean, Lil Wayne's there. Lil Wayne's there at the ESPYs as well, wearing an LSU women's basketball national championship hat. You got SNL parodying Angel Reese on SNL. Like, you literally couldn't go to NBC and give them money to have them do a sketch like that. But Punky Johnson, who's from New Orleans, by the way, I think she's from New Orleans, went to Nichols. Shout out. She's there wearing an LSU women's basketball jersey doing the Angel Reese thing. That's $6 million that you lost a year ago in women's basketball. You made up for 100-fold with the exposure you got from that national championship run. So is Kim Mulkey worth $3.2 million per year? You damn right she is. As a matter of fact, I'd argue she's underpaid. Go get your bag, Kim. Keep winning. It's after further review. NFL season kicks off tonight. When we come back, Muse, Paulie, and I, we go on the record with our division picks, our conference championship picks, and our Super Bowl picks. What could possibly go wrong, says the guy who picked LSU to win the Natty and Clemson to win the ACC. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Gordon McCurdy Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. By the way, shout out to Gordon. The newest member of the G team. They've gone to the Bluff, y'all. Oh, man, it's on Facebook. I'm looking on Twitter right now. Check out Gordon's Facebook. I was going to show it to you here if y'all were watching along. Gordon's Facebook, his Instagram. They don't have it up on Twitter yet, but Gordon does have his latest NIL deal. The first Southern University athlete. It's Jaguars quarterback Harold Blood. Harold Blood, I didn't know this until I saw the post on Gordon's social, but Harold Blood and Gordon's son, John Gordon, apparently played basketball together. Harold's from Destrehan, so a Louisiana guy playing quarterback for the Jags on the Bluff. So shout out to Gordon, the latest NIL deal that he's done. Of course, as we always say, go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family, a front-to-back boat service.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Is there any idea as to Kelsey's status?
No. They're looking at it now. So I just see how it goes.
That was Andy Reid. He was asked about Travis Kelce's status. He hyperextended his knee earlier in the week. The line is at KC 4.5. Is that moved? Have you looked at the line at all this week?
I haven't.
All right, we'll ask Otter when he's with us later. I don't know what it opened at, but it's KC 4.5 right now. I still love the Chiefs in this game. I mean, I know the Lions are a trendy pick for a lot of people, but it is so hard to beat a team on opening night in the NFL when they're raising their banner. So much emotion in that night, and for as amazing a player as Travis Kelce is, and he's the best tight end in the NFL, it's still Patrick Mahomes. The Lions are going to be an exciting team to watch. I think the offense is going to be really good. I really wonder how good the defense is going to be, but with Jared Goff, obviously, they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. It's going to be exciting to watch them and if they can make that push. And they got hot late a year ago. Detroit wound up going on a run where they lost like one game in their last 7 or one game in their last 8 a year ago. I mean, they got hot at the end. Of course, they missed out on the playoffs, but they beat Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay in Week 18, the final game that Rodgers had there. Let's see, I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, so let's see. They won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Forgive me. So they won 5 of their last 6 and 8 of their last 10. So starting November the 6th, where they beat Green Bay, Chicago, the Giants, lost to Buffalo 28-25, blew out Jacksonville 40-14, beat the Vikings, won at the Jets, lost at Carolina, blew out the Bears 41-10, and then won that game at Green Bay. So Chicago finished on fire after a really, really tough start, where they were 1-7. They were 1-6 to start, and finished 9-8. So I understand why Detroit is a trendy pick, but man, that's still Patrick Mahomes. That's still Kansas City, even if Kelce and Jones aren't there tonight. I do like Kansas City in this game. Not going on a limb or anything with that, but I like Kansas City a lot. All right, it is after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're going to get to our NFL division winners here in just a second. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Tell you every day, get to the website, y'all. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. That is the best place to find out all of the different things that they do. So I tell you about calibration, which so many of you know. If it's if it's electronic calibration or environmental calibration, force, lab balance, mass, physical, dimensional calibration. They do pressure gauges, scale calibration. They do it all at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You can go request a quote. You can ship your equipment to them, and I'm excited about their new calibration lab at their Harahan office. They're going to have the grand opening and ribbon cutting next month. I'm excited to be down there for it. So, Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Check them out. 31 different offices across 11 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, we always go on the record, and we hold ourselves accountable, okay? We do this for every major sports season. We pick division winners. We pick champions. And at the end of the season, we come back and laugh at ourselves. Still got a few more months before the rent's due on the MLB preseason. Look at Paulie laughing over there. Paulie, have any of us even come remotely close on our MLB picks? I know I picked the Yankees to win the World Series.
I believe Musso is the closest so far.
Didn't I have Yankees Braves?
I don't remember.
Okay. But I know I have the Yankees winning, and they're not even making the damn playoffs. So, anyway. Okay. Here we go. Let's get to it. We're going to pick division winners, the 3 wildcard teams, AFC, NFC champion, and the Super Bowl champion. Okay? All right, let us begin with the AFC, and let's start in the East. Muse, the AFC East winner will be?
I'm still going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I know there's a lot of people excited about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and rightfully so. But, I mean, look, the Bills are still stacked. I still think it's their division. It might take a year or two to get the Jets really up to that
Right.
peak.
Show ends at 6. Okay, you like the Bills. Sorry, I know. I just like saying the show ends
It's harsh.
I like
It's 326.
I know. You know what I missed yesterday completely? Jake Hayner got popped for PEDs in the 4 o'clock hour. We were talking about drugs in the 4 o'clock hour. I didn't make any weed references about you. I'm off my game. I am off my game.
Yeah, you need to pick it back up.
All right, Paul. That's what Musso said when he saw a joint laying on the ground.
See, that just wasn't a good
that?
one.
I'm just tying it on here. I gotta get back here. It's just my warm up. Okay. All right, Paulie, AFC East, Paulie.
I am also going to go with the Buffalo Bills. They were my Super Bowl prediction last year. I think the Jets will be better, but I do think they're a year away. I even think the Dolphins will be a little better than the Jets. But I'm going to go with the Bills.
I am not going with the Bills, so we have disagreement. And I am not going with the Jets. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. They are all in. When Tua is healthy, they are good. And I think the Bills having to play a first-place schedule is going to bite them. You'll see that in another pick I have coming up here shortly as well. But I'm going with the Miami Dolphins to win the AFC East. Okay, Muse, AFC North, go.
I mean, come on. You kidding? We're going with Joey B.
Homer.
So?
Paulie.
I'm also going with the Bengals. I think it's a two-horse race, Bengals-Ravens, but I think
don't y'all sleep on Pittsburgh, bro. Don't y'all dare sleep on Pittsburgh.
Kenny Pickett, man.
I mean... yeah, I'm going Bengals as well. So, okay. AFC South, Muse.
Again, I feel like the Jaguars are the trendy pick there. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. I love the defensive front. Look, the Treylon Burks thing didn't really work out. They go get DeAndre Hopkins at receiver. You still got Derrick Henry, Tajay Spears. I like Tennessee to win that division.
Paulie.
I think this is a one-horse race here. I think it's the Jaguars. I think the Titans finally move on from Tannehill, and I don't think that division's any good.
The division is not any good. However, similar to why I'm picking Miami in the East, I'm also picking Tennessee in the AFC South. The Jacksonville Jaguars, while I think they might be the best team in the division as a result of being a first-place team, have to play the Chiefs. They have to play the Bengals, and they have to play... Who else am I missing? Oh, the Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills.
Yikes.
So those 3 games right there, I think, are the pendulum swing that allows Tennessee to win that division. Okay, AFC West. Are we going Chiefs?
Yeah,
going Chiefs, Paulie.
I'm going to go with the Chargers here.
Oh, man.
I think this is the year the Chiefs finally take a step back.
Yeah! Get 'em, Paulie!
I like the Chargers to finally take the step forward. I'm going with the Chargers.
I mean, you're an idiot, but good.
I did that last year and it didn't work,
No, it
Paul,
doesn't
so
work.
good
Just
luck.
Go, yeah, just what's the old thing? You ride a trend.
Yeah.
And okay, 3 wild card teams. Muse.
Out of the AFC we're doing? You said?
Yes, we're doing the AFC.
Hey, man.
Did
Jacksonville.
you say the S word?
No. Jacksonville.
Okay.
Miami. And the aforementioned Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. Paulie, 3 wild card teams in the AFC.
My AFC wild cards, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I don't think they're going to completely miss the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins, and I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Okay. My 3, Pittsburgh Steelers, Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos.
Hey, Homer.
Sean Payton. They were picked to win 10 games a year ago. One of the most underachieving rosters in the NFL. If you don't think Sean Payton is going to come in, breathe life into that franchise, and maximize Russell Wilson, you weren't paying attention to the Saints for the last 2 decades. That means the Chargers are missing the playoffs. That means the Jets are missing the playoffs. All right, let's go to the NFC. Muse, NFC East. Lead us off.
Eagles, Eagles. They got better.
Yeah, no, I think we're probably Eagles. Yeah, Eagles.
Yeah,
Eagles. Okay, all right. NFC North. Muse.
Vikings. I want to pick the Lions so bad because I love Dan Campbell, but I think they're a year away. I'll go Minnesota.
Paulie.
I think their year is right now. I'm going with the Lions.
Paulie!
Yes. That's not that bold. I'm going with the Lions as well. They're favored to win the division. The Vikings last year were the biggest overachiever in the NFL. They were 4 games over their projected win total. They were very good in close games, and they threw up on themselves in the playoffs. Kirk Cousins is still Kirk Cousins. So, yes, I'm going with the Detroit Lions to win the NFC North. All right, in the South, Muse.
New Orleans Saints.
Paulie.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints.
All right, we're all going Saints. Interestingly, if you remember, our guy Zeno was here a few weeks back, and he talked about the value proposition for Atlanta. If you're a bet tour, there is value in Atlanta or Carolina with the division if you're looking for a value bet. But yes, Saints with Derek Carr should win this division. It's still a bad division. You have one team tanking, like openly tanking in this division with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask battling it out right now. Excuse me. Kyle Trask.
There you go.
Battling it out right now. NFC West, Muse.
All right, I'm actually going to go with the Seattle Seahawks here. Get Jamal Adams back in the defense like that. Like the weapons on the outside. Geno Smith, can he take the next step? And really, I just don't know if I believe in Brock Purdy.
Okay. Paulie?
I second what Musa said. I'm going to the Seahawks. I don't trust the 49ers quarterback situation.
If you could see my sheet, how I scribbled my letter right here. I wanted to write Seattle so badly. I started and I was like, I just like the Niners defense. Yeah. They continued to find a way to win no matter who was under center. I'm with you with your concerns with Brock Purdy. I totally agree on those concerns. I need to see more of a sample, but I am going to go with the Niners to win the division. Okay, wild card in the NFC, Muse.
A wild card in the NFC. We have the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
We have the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
And the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. I'm going Falcons.
What a terrible pick.
I'm going
Paulie.
Falcons.
What, are you going to make the wild card at 7 and 10? Get out of here. Dork.
I think you might be a little better than that.
Dork.
I'm going to go with the 49ers. I do still think they made the playoffs. I'm going to go with the Vikings and the Cowboys.
Okay, Paulie, our wild card teams are the same, except we've inverted San Francisco and Seattle. I got San Francisco winning the division, but my wild card teams are Dallas, Minnesota, Seattle. The NFC, the AFC is just decidedly more difficult to pick. It's there's just way more good teams. All right, who wins the AFC? Who wins the NFC, Muse?
In the AFC, I have the Cincinnati Bengals over the Buffalo Bills.
I just need the winner.
Oh, Cincinnati.
Okay, Cincinnati. Homer. Paulie.
I'm also going with Cincinnati.
Homer. Yeah, I got the Bengals too.
Homer.
All right, NFC.
Eagles.
I'm going with the Eagles as well.
Oh, Jesus. By the way, we did not plan this.
Pick somebody else.
I have the Eagles. I have Bengals. We all have Bengals, Eagles. Are we all picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl?
No.
Are we all picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl? Muse, are you picking the Bengals?
I was going to pick the Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
Paulie, do you have the Bengals to win the Super Bowl?
I'm picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
This is it's written down on my show. Y'all can come look at my show prep.
Mine's in my email right in front of me.
I'll tell you, I've been on plenty of shows, and the Bengals have been my Super Bowl pick on every one. I'll say this for the reason, each of the last 2 years, despite missing the preseason, Burrow has gotten them to the AFC Championship game. They won in Kansas City, as we know, a couple of seasons ago. They lost the AFC Championship game this past year. I like Cincinnati not only to win their division, I like them to have the 1 seed this year. They finally went and got Joe Burrow a franchise left tackle. He has got the weapons around him. They have bolstered their defense as well in free agency and the draft. Cincinnati is ready to make their run and push through and win and get back to the Super Bowl and win it. So I'm not feeling great about all of us having the exact same pick.
Apologies to the Cincinnati Bengals.
But at the same time, we've definitely just given them the kiss of death. But at the same time, we all understand and respect and just know what Joe Burrow is. And he is going to break through at some point. So it's kind of like trying to time your jump. It's the opposite of what everyone's doing with the Eagles, where you saw them so dominant a year ago, and now they come back, and you're like, okay, we'll just go with them until someone challenges. We're trying to time it with the Bengals, and I think that's why they are going to be a pretty trendy pick there. So all of us go with the Bengals. Not just the Bengals. We all went Bengals, Eagles.
Yeah. So I guess apologies to the Eagles, too.
Okay, there's our picks. Muse, Paulie, and I will come back in February and find out how wrong we were. It's after further review. Thanks for being here. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
The NFL season kicks off in just a couple of hours. If you want to watch the game in spectacular high definition, on a wall that has a 13-foot by 8-foot TV. 13-foot by 8-foot. Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. That 13-foot by 8-foot TV, by the way, that's at the Bluebonnet location. Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Tonight and every Thursday, all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites. It's perfect. It's time to kick off the NFL season. It's Thursday. Take a half day tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Go out and celebrate and do it at Pluckers. Get by Pluckers. Pay one low price. As many boneless buffalo bites as you could possibly eat for one low price. It's white meat. It's breaded. It's fried. It's tossed in your favorite wing sauce. And they'll keep bringing them out all night long for one low price. It's every Thursday at Pluckers. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Of course, all you can eat is just for dine-in. But it's at Pluckers. NFL kickoff tonight. Watch it at Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97%
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
I opened and it was a reset. Practice the last couple of days, it's been very well. We've been very intentional with what we're doing and what we want to accomplish, how we prepare day in and day out, each period. We got to keep the intensity up, like Coach Kelly talks about, because that translates over to the game. So how you practice is how you're going to play, essentially.
Jaden said they came out flat in the second half. It's unfortunate that they did because, had a 3-point lead and you were rolling in that first half. Missed out on a couple of red zone opportunities, but it's a 4-quarter game. It's old cliche, but it held true on Sunday night. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second, but Jaden Daniels was asked point blank, what's going to look different on Saturday night against Grambling?
I would say it's just how we attack the ball each and every play, how we attack each drive, taking the field when, we change possessions. That matters a lot, especially from upstairs. If those guys see that we're attacking the field and, we're ready to go out there and attack the defense, it puts us in a better position to really be in the right mind of focus and go out there and accomplish our jobs.
Grambling lost week 1 to Hampton. Grambling did throw for 300 yards in that game. So a team that wants to spread you out, throw it. Hugh Jackson is their head coach. Of course, Hugh Jackson is the former Cleveland Browns head coach, longtime NFL coach. Hugh Jackson, who's in his second season at Grambling. They were 3-8 a year ago, looking to build upon that. We were scheduled to have Hugh Jackson with us earlier today. We had a little bit of there was just a little bit of a mix-up earlier when we were supposed to speak to Hugh to record our interview. They're at practice right now, so we'll see if we're able to reconnect with him maybe later in the show today or tomorrow. But we hope we're able to have that conversation with Grambling head coach Hugh Jackson. But Tigers Saturday in Tiger Stadium. Okay, I'm going to move quickly here. We got our Fantasy Blitz coming up with Darin Tietgen. Looking forward to having that back. So get your fantasy questions in before you set your fantasy football roster. Check with our guys at whotostart.com. Start lining up your questions because we're getting to that coming up in just a few right now. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Running back Rocket Sanders will not play Saturday against Kent State. Sam Pittman confirmed that on his weekly radio show. Sanders has a little bit of swelling in his knee, suffered this past weekend in the win over Western Carolina. The Hogs will split duties with A.J. Green, Rashad Dubanon, and Dominique Johnson.
The Florida Gators.
Star safety, star, all caps, that's the name of the position, kind of like a jack linebacker. Safety Jadarius Perkins has left the Florida Gators after one game. He's entering the transfer portal. He's a graduate, so he will have one season of collegiate eligibility remaining. A season ago, Perkins contributed in all 13 games. Defensive back Jaden Hill, who started at cornerback last year, has moved to that star position. Perkins spent the spring of 2021 at Missouri. He was the number 5 overall JUCO prospect in the country before heading to Florida.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
A Tennessee freshman quarterback, Nico Amalavea, I think I'm saying it right. If not, I'll get it right eventually. He will not take a red shirt. Josh Heupel said, quote, "There is no plan to redshirt him. We want to get him as much football as possible." Nico is a 5-star recruit, played in the opener. Joe Milton is the starting quarterback, but Nico, no plans of being at college for 5 years, so he's going to play this year.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And linebacker A.J. Rice has committed to Mississippi State and coach Zach Arnett. He's the first 2025 commit. He's out of the state of Alabama. He's the number 44 linebacker in the country, the 22nd best player in Bama. 6'2", 230, offers from Cincinnati, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, and Liberty. There you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com. GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, and ULL Raging Cajuns, and the Baton Rouge Zydeco, the new hockey team. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. Okay, let me knock out a break. Come back. We'll do a little fantasy blitz. Before you set your fantasy football roster, check with our guys at whotostart.com. Darin Tietgen is next. Line up your questions. Who to Start is next.
AFR.
Man, we got the opening night of the NFL. Maybe you're going to throw a few steaks on the grill or something like that. How about this? Download the Rouse's app. Make this real easy. Download the Rouse's app. Pick out your items on the app. Your personal shopper will go pick out the items. You pull up into one of the spaces right in the front of the store. They'll bring it out to you. If your order is over $35, there's no charge to use the app and your personal shopper. And if your order is over $100, use the code SAINTS20, that's SAINTS20, and they'll give you $20 off your order. They're saving you money at Rouse's. It's incredible. They're making it more convenient, and they're saving you money. It's at Rouse's. So download the Rouse's app today. Y'all, the NFL season kicks off tonight. Have a little game watch party at your house and let Rouse's cater it for you. Download the Rouse's app today. Make sure you use that code SAINTS20 when you use your personal shopper. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. After further review This is the Fantasy Football Blitz.
Do you know who I am?
Powered by whotostart.com.
Who the hell are you?
Whotostart.com.
Peekaboo!
The Fantasy Football Blitz.
Who the pickings?
This is the Fantasy Football Blitz, powered by whotostart.com on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 104.5ESPN.com.
All right, let's get it. I ain't got no idea how many years we've been doing this with Darin Tietgen, but we're thrilled to have him back. Whotostart.com. If you're new, it's easy. Whotostart.com will give you personalized fantasy football advice. They'll run it through their algorithm. They'll tell you who to start if you got a question. So fire away. Email us, tweet us, or X us.
Hey, Twitter. What? No, not Twitter. Hey, X world.
Or text your question to 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Darin, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I have to tell you, when we started, my daughter wasn't even born. Today she started 7th grade.
Oh, my God. So we were in the break trying to figure out how many years. Because I can remember when we did a show at TJ Ribs in Baton Rouge one time, and you came by, and that had to be like 2012 or 13. So
yeah.
It's been at least 10 years. At least.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going on I think this is 12 or 13.
That's freaking phenomenal. All right. You know the drill. Get your questions in for Darin. As always, Darin, we start with Thursday Night Football, the opener tonight with the Chiefs hosting the Lions. Who are we keeping an eye on tonight?
Well, I just got back from lunch, so I haven't checked my Twitter or X or whatever that's called. So I don't know what's up with Travis Kelce. But if he doesn't play, Noah Gray is actually a nice little plug and play because he's actually a pretty solid tight end, and somebody's got to pick up the slack for Kelce being out if he is indeed out. Tonight, it's going to be a passing frenzy. I think both teams are going to pass the ball quite a bit. Look for Jahmyr Gibbs to come out and catch a lot of balls for the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, will catch a lot of balls for the Lions. And then it's going to be interesting to see for who Mahomes targets other than Kelce or the tight end, wide receiver-wise for the Chiefs.
Sleepers this weekend. Who are we looking at?
Yeah, I got a couple for you, or actually three. I don't know why Dak Prescott's not getting the love that he should. I mean, most rankings have him in like the 15 to 16 rank, not only for this week but overall. I just think that they're going to throw the ball a lot, even with Kellen Moore now in Los Angeles, excuse me.
Right. We all still do it, man.
Well, yeah, I think Dak Prescott's just going to be a steady plug-and-play type of quarterback. Lots of weapons there, probably the best 1-2 punch, maybe outside of Philadelphia in terms of receivers. So I like Dak Prescott. He plays well against the Giants. I think he's undefeated. So look for him to have a pretty good outing there. Running back-wise, James Cook, look for him to take a big step forward. Damian Harris is there, may steal some goal line work, but in terms of the main bell cow, like James Cook there for Buffalo. And then a real true sleeper at wide receiver is Nico Collins for the Texans. Pretty much kind of the de facto number one wide receiver there for C.J. Stroud. Look for him to look Nico Collins' way quite a bit, especially in the first part of the season.
Let's get to your questions. Again, you can always go to whotostart.com. That's start.com. Get your personalized fantasy football advice. Nathan Hodge says, Darin, who to start? Is Jackson Smith-Njigba a viable flex option this week? And could George Pickens be a season-long fantasy starter?
I'll go with Pickens first. Yeah, absolutely. Kenny Pickett's can take a major step forward this year in year two for the Steelers, and Pickens has tons of talent, so he should be a solid play for the rest of the season. Jackson Smith-Njigba, sounds like his hand or his thumb or whatever it was bothering him is okay because it sounds like he's going to play. He may actually be the best receiver on the Seahawks. Whether that translates into fantasy production has remained to be seen, but Geno Smith should be looking his way early and often. So, he looks like a pretty good play this week, especially against the Rams.
Brennan Thibodeau, who to start, Cole Kmet or Juwan Johnson?
This is only week one, but this is the classic safe versus upside type of play. Juwan Johnson's got the upside, a little bit more of a risk coming into this week, but Cole Kmet's probably the safer play. So it really depends on the rest of your roster.
Rusty Ferreira, who to start, Watson or Dobbs?
I'm not starting Dobbs until he proves something. Watson obviously had a tough time getting back into the swing of things, but he's just got way more weapons. And the matchup's not great, but I think I'm going Watson there.
Maddie says, Darin, who to start, Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen?
Oh boy, that's tough. I mean, those are two pretty solid quarterbacks, but I think Josh Allen's got the upside of being able to rush the ball a little bit more than Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going Allen there. Brandon DeVille, who to start, Burrow or Herbert? Yeah, it's another tough one. Those guys are going to be ranked pretty similarly the entire season. I think this week I like Herbert at home against what should be a shootout against the Dolphins. I'm going Herbert there.
We've got less than a minute. Let's see how many we can get. Derek Roussel, who to start, Isaac Pacheco or Kenneth Walker?
I think Pacheco, especially if Kelsey's out, I mean, look for, the Chiefs are going to throw the balls quite a bit, but I think Pacheco finds himself into the end zone against the Lions this tonight here. So I'm leaning Pacheco, but Walker's a pretty good start himself.
Ian Graham, PPR flex play, Javonte Williams or Michael Thomas?
It looks like Javonte Williams' knee that he absolutely blew up is looking pretty good, and he's going to catch a ton of balls out of the backfield. So I'm leaning Javonte there.
He is Darin Tietgen, who2start.com. It's numeral 2, who2start.com. Enjoy the weekend, Darin. Thanks, man.
Always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
AFR.
Hour number 1 in the books. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. If you were in the market for a new vehicle or might be in the market for a new vehicle, check out South Point Volkswagen. Or if you're in the market for a certified pre-owned vehicle, remember, you can always go to the tab right there at the top. You can see the used vehicles tab, and it's all different makes and models, not just Volkswagens. They've got plenty of inventory. Yeah, they got Volkswagens. There's a 2016 BMW XI you could drive right now, a 2018 Toyota RAV4, a 2019 Ford Explorer Limited, a 2019 Honda Accord. So my point is, yes, if you want a new Volkswagen, shop new vehicles at southpointvw.com or go see their lot. You're talking about 9 different IIHS top safety picks. You get the great German engineering without the cost, manufactured right here in the US of A. But they got a great pre-owned selection as well. southpointvw.com.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops You're getting a re-roof. You're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified, and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The new NFL season kicks off tonight. The Super Bowl champion Chiefs hosting the Lions in Kansas City. The Chiefs are the favorite to win a second straight title at 6-1, according to Caesars Sportsbook. What about tight end Travis Kelce and his status for tonight? Chiefs CEO Clark Hunt.
I know he had a little bit of a setback the other day with a minor knee injury. We hope that he'll be able to go tonight. He'll be a game-time decision. But he's somebody who loves to compete, so I wouldn't bet against him being on the field tonight.
Clark Hunt on the NFL Network's Good Morning Football. He hasn't missed a game with an injury since his rookie season 10 years ago. The Vikings will sign safety Josh Metellus to a 2-year extension. Our Adam Schefter reports the deal is worth up to $13 million with $6 million guaranteed. Team USA plays Germany in the FIBA World Cup semifinals tomorrow. Germany is the only unbeaten team in the tournament at 6-0. That game is on ESPN2 at 8:40 a.m. Eastern tomorrow.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Former NFL GM Michael Lombardi in 15 minutes. Ryan Clark 1 hour from right now. Mike Triplett next hour. We are locked, loaded, a big old gaggle of football to talk about. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. LSU will welcome a SWAC opponent in Tiger Stadium for the second time in history. Of course, Southern a year ago, and on Saturday, it'll be the Grambling Tigers and head coach Hugh Jackson coming into Tiger Stadium. Matt Belinson covers Grambling for the Ruston Leader. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Matt, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. What's it like covering Hugh Jackson, man? Former NFL head coach there at Grambling.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can definitely tell that it took some time for him to adjust to the college level. Obviously, like you mentioned, a lot of people know him from his NFL coaching days. And he even admitted himself that, coming to a SWAC HBCU school, it took some time for him to kind of recognize that it takes time to build a culture here to kind of get the roster that you want. And certainly even dealing with the media too, obviously different types of media obligations, obviously less coverage just in terms of the amount of beat reporters compared to an NFL team or some of the, other college teams that he was an assistant for in years past. So, he's been good to work with. I can definitely tell that he's still trying to get his feet under him, and obviously his group's going to have a tough time with it on Saturday here against LSU.
We'll delve into the game a little bit, but I'm curious, Matt, from a 3-8 season a year ago, to a roster that has a whole lot of transfers, as you might expect. Does it look like Hugh Jackson has it trending in the right direction? Because sometimes that transition from NFL to college can be difficult for coaches because it's so dramatically different.
Yeah, like you mentioned, obviously they lost the opener to Hampton to start this season 0-1, and in all likelihood they're going to start 0-2 with a loss to LSU. So, in terms of the wins and losses, I would certainly say as an objective observer, I think you still have to see if it's trending in the right direction. Certainly he and his players are talking like it's trending in the right direction. But again, at some point, a historic program like this that, once had a lot of historic success in this conference, I think it's getting to a point where I think people are, tired of talking about seeing things, move in a positive direction. I think they want to start seeing it. Obviously with Deion out of the SWAC now, and, Jackson State obviously, took a tough loss to Florida A&M to start their season. So there's a lot of teams in this conference that certainly feel like they're moving in a positive direction. I think for Grambling State and its fans, obviously a lot of historic success. They want to see it. And so I think going forward, you're optimistic that they've maybe found a quarterback. But again, it's kind of tough to say after one game. But I would say in general, I think this season will really tell us a lot, as to whether or not Hugh has everything under control.
When I look at the roster, Matt, I could see transfers from Tennessee, from Ole Miss, from Kennesaw State, from Southern Utah, all over. Is it safe to say that Hugh Jackson has attacked the transfer portal and they're trying to build this roster through Power 5 and FBS transfers?
Yeah, I would say that is the approach. Again, obviously playing in the SWAC, it's just a different caliber of athlete. And, obviously, again, when you're coaching in North Louisiana, maybe the talent pool on paper is, isn't as deep and as rich at a place like, LSU and some places in the southern part of the state. But I think for him, like you mentioned before, got a guy out of South Alabama, wide receiver from the transfer portal, brought in a kid from Tennessee. He was a preferred walk-on at Tennessee, so he didn't really get a whole lot of action. So I think for him, the transfer portal pickups, like you mentioned, they're not only FBS projects. I think it's really just kind of a last chance in a way for a lot of guys. Obviously coming to Grambling State, people, they're going to have opportunities, whereas, you go to an LSU, you might be buried on the depth chart for a number of years. And so I think for Hugh Jackson, I think he's recognized that the recruiting approach has to go a little bit differently. I think they can't, maybe put their targets as high as they maybe would like to. I think they have to kind of search the bottom of these depth charts. I think they have to find guys that maybe never had an opportunity, but were certainly good enough to be recruited to these schools. And so I think that's the way they're trying to do it. Again, I think the results still have to speak for themselves.
A couple more minutes here. Matt Belinson is our guest from the Ruston Leader, covers Grambling, who'll be in Tiger Stadium this weekend. So you mentioned they think they found a quarterback there. Miles Crawley threw for 300 yards against Hampton in a high-scoring loss, 35-31. What can you tell us about Crawley?
Yeah, he's a transfer from Alabama State that came in, during the offseason. Kind of similar to last fall camp for Grambling. It was a quarterback battle, pretty much up until, this past Saturday with Hampton. Miles was battling with, returning starter, Julian Calvez. He was a freshman last year, Calvez was. Didn't exactly light the world on fire, not a high completion percentage. Grambling was one of two SWAC teams without a 1,000-yard passer. So it was pretty clear that even though Calvez, was going to come back as, a returning starter, on paper, I think it was pretty clear that this team needed to upgrade at the position. And yeah, Crawley came in, game one, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's crazy to think, just given this program's success, he's the first Grambling quarterback since 2018 to throw for 300 yards. So I definitely think it's game one encouragement for Hugh, to pull a guy out of the portal, and he comes in and produces like that. But I think again, we have to see that for a full season until I think it's truly kind of understood that this team is kind of back on its feet.
We all know LSU's pass defense struggled mightily against Florida State. Little bit of a different animal with Jordan Travis, a 6-year senior, and Keon Coleman, who's probably a first-round draft pick. But should we anticipate Grambling's going to come in to Tiger Stadium on Saturday and sling it around and try to throw for a bunch of yards?
Yeah, I would definitely say if you had to pick, either run heavy or pass heavy, I would say this team is going to lean on Miles. They're going to let him kind of figure it out. They're going to throw him into the fire. And like you mentioned, they've brought in guys from the transfer portal to kind of beef up that wide receiver room. They feel like there's a lot of skill in that room. Obviously, you return Lyndon Rash after 500 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns last year as an all SWAC guy. So they feel pretty high about their skill positions. They do return some, running backs. Floyd Chalk was the Bayou Classic MVP, had a pretty decent showing against Hampton last week. But I would say just in terms of the attack pattern, I would imagine that they're not going to, try and run into this LSU defensive line, too much, especially, with Mason Smith coming back. I can't imagine they're going to say, you know what, Floyd Chalk, why don't we just, run you at him for, 15 carries tonight. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of Miles Crawley. And again, I think those LSU DBs certainly were, going to be looking for some redemption after Florida State on Sunday.
Is there a perceived or even unquestioned strength of this Grambling team, either side of the ball?
I would say going into the season, it was definitely the defensive front. That started, Brian Kelly mentioned it in kind of his opening presser on Tuesday. Lewis Matthews, a fifth-year linebacker for this team, a preseason all-SWAC player, and then also Sundiata Anderson, an edge rusher for this team. He's on some NFL draft boards as a SWAC guy, kind of a day 3 pick. He's bulked up in the offseason. He had 8 sacks last year, 15 and a half tackles for loss. He didn't finish with a sack against Hampton. Clearly, the Pirates had a, I'm sure, game plan for him, and I'm sure LSU will as well. So it'll be interesting to see if both of those guys can make an impact. Lewis was certainly a tackling machine, had over 100 tackles last year, definitely on pace to do that again this year if he can stay healthy. So I would say it's the defensive front for this unit. Again, I have a feeling LSU is probably going to get the ball out quick. They're going to, let their playmakers kind of, cook in space. And I can't imagine they're just going to ask, this offensive line to just go straight drop back. And maybe they will, because, obviously, LSU's got some, pretty capable offensive linemen that I think can maybe handle Sundiata. But I would say on paper, that's probably the strength of this team if you had to pick one.
If Hugh Jackson had a best case for Saturday night, I mean, realistically, LSU's going to win this game, and it's probably one of those name your score type things. But if you're Hugh Jackson, what is a best case scenario for his team on Saturday night?
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think the score, it's kind of a pick your score type of game. I think really if you're Hugh Jackson, I think you really want to see 2 things. I think you want to see some semblance of the passing game that you saw against Hampton. I'm not going to predict that Miles Crawley is going to throw for 300 yards, certainly not. But if you can see them put together maybe 1 or 2 drives, that maybe gets close to a score where you feel like Miles is in control, the lights aren't too big for him, I feel like that's a win because, obviously, game 1 against Hampton, that's a different level of competition. If you can come out of this game and saying, definitively, Miles is our quarterback. He can command an offense. The bright lights of Tiger Stadium and that pass rush did not get the better of him. I think that's a huge win. I think a second win is kind of on an individual level. I think, again, if Sundiata Anderson and some of these kind of fringe NFL prospect guys, if they can make like a couple tackles for loss, or if they could, kind of get their way into a sack, if maybe some coverage, doesn't line up, I think that's a massive win just in terms of recruiting, to say, hey, you know what? You come to Grambling State, maybe don't talk about the score, but, if you come to Grambling State, you have an opportunity to play against the LSUs of the world. We go on the road and play in these big classics. NFL scouts are going to be at these games they want to watch. And so, you're going to have your opportunities for these big stages to perform. And so I think those are probably the only 2, wins, I guess, if you wanted to say it. Certainly I think Hugh and this coaching staff recognize that, they are going to come into this game, at a pretty large deficit.
Matt Belinson covering Grambling there for the Ruston Leader. Good stuff, Matt. We appreciate a couple of minutes, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It is our pleasure. It is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Former NFL GM Michael Lombardi, who's been a friend of the show for been kind enough to come on many times throughout the years, is going to jump aboard with us next. He's written a new book, and look, the kickoff of the NFL season is a great time to have him on. So we'll talk to former NFL GM Michael Lombardi when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Was chatting earlier today via text with some of the folks over at ProCharge. I mean, they've been blown away. The amount of inquiries they're getting from our audience daily has been awesome. So sincerely, thanks to everyone who's taken time and inquired. It's super easy. And I say it often, if it's for a home or for a commercial building, just go to the website. This is the best way to do it. Just go to ProChargeEV.com, ProChargeEV.com. If you scroll down on the website, you'll see there's a form right there on the main page of the website where you can fill out to get more information. Look, the best way to say it is it doesn't really matter if you drive an EV or if you like EVs or what you think about it. The bottom line is EV production is ramping up dramatically. EV usage is ramping up, and you got to have chargers. So if you have a commercial building, you need EV chargers as an amenity for customers or employees or a revenue generator. ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com.
I've been doing business with Luber for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
NFL season kicks off. What a great opportunity to chat with a guy who spent 35 years, so many different variety of roles in the NFL, of course, as a scout, as a general manager. Now Michael Lombardi, previously a best-selling author, but he's done it again this time with Football Done Right, setting the record straight on coaches, players, and history of the NFL. And when you look at some of the notables, quotes from Bill Belichick, endorsements from Pat McAfee, Adam Schefter, people all around the league, of course, know Michael Lombardi is good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Michael, it's a pleasure. A happy opening day. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for opening day. Who wouldn't be, right? This is the great time of the year. We have 5-6 months of just sheer enjoyment on every single weekend.
How do you celebrate opening day?
Oh, you try not to overreact. Just remind yourself that it's week one, like it's a marathon, They tell you all the time at the Navy SEALs training in San Diego at Coronado that the guys and girls who lead the run on the first day or do the most push-ups on the first day or do the most chin-ups on the first day, they never make it to the punch. They never become a SEAL because they just kind of fade out. They don't have the ability to handle the volume of work day after day after day. That's the NFL season. The NFL season is about the volume of work. So, everybody's going to overreact. We know that. That's what happens.
Right.
But the reality of it is you can't, and that's what I keep reminding myself.
What a fascinating comp. We'll talk some football in a second, but I'd love to know what inspired you to write the book.
I think a couple things inspired me. I got on the team bus with Bill Walsh because I was his lackey, and I did basically any job that he wanted me to do, and I wish I had that job still. He would always be doodling Clark Shaughnessy's plays, and I didn't know who Clark Shaughnessy was. And so, because of that ignorance, I needed to learn that. And then I did a show with Ernie Accorsi and the great Steve Sabo at NFL Films, and I was making comments about Johnny Unitas that I really didn't know or understand. And I thought, if you're going to act like you better know. So I went back and started researching some of the older players, and I said, I need to write a book because I was getting frustrated with some of these coaches that weren't getting in the Hall of Fame. I was getting frustrated with some of these coaches or some of these players that didn't get in the Hall of Fame. So for me, it was, okay, let me write something that I think would help players, coaches, maybe bring more awareness to the fans about why they belong in the Hall of Fame.
Well, whenever I look at the title, and it's what coaches, players, and the history of the NFL. If I asked you, you sort of alluded to it there, but is there maybe something that you find generally is an overarching misnomer or a misperception publicly about a person, a team, something in the NFL that seems pervasive that's always you've looked at and said, people just have that wrong?
Yeah, I mean, like the perfect example of that are Marty Schottenheimer and Dan Reeves, right? Here they are, two coaches that have basically won 200 games in their NFL coaching career, but neither of them has won a Super Bowl, and yet neither of them are in the Hall of Fame. Now, let me put it in perspective. There is only 9 human beings on planet Earth that have ever won over 200 games, and 2 of those 9 can't get in the Hall of Fame. There's something wrong with that. And I think people think, oh, it's easy to win NFL games. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's really hard. And so because it's really hard, it becomes a problem. And I think the awareness needs to get told. And I think it's really a sin. Marty Schottenheimer is the 8th winningest coach. He has a 61% winning percentage. He has a higher win percentage than Chuck Noll. A higher win percentage than Chuck Noll. He's 13 games behind, and this is regular season. Now Dan Reeves only has 190 wins regular season, and he's got another 11 playoff wins, which gives him 201. Marty's only got 5 playoff wins, which gets him to 205. But you have a 60% win percentage. I mean, that's rare. That's really rare. Now some guys, Madden coached 10 years with 70. It took him forever to get in. And he had a 75% win, almost 76. George Allen's in the Hall of Fame with a 71% win percentage.
You know what's so interesting, Michael? I've had this conversation. I'm glad, I could have this conversation with you for 3 hours. But the Major League Baseball has always married itself to its numbers, right? 3,000 hits, 500 homers, 300 wins. We all know those numbers, right? Football doesn't have that. So, and it feels like we are more focused on the moments that define careers instead of the aggregate. Are you saying that we've got it backwards?
Yeah, we do. We put people in the Tony. Let me tell you this: every player that got in the Hall of Fame, God bless. But Tony Baselli didn't have a Hall of Fame career. He had a Hall of Fame. He had Hall of Fame seasons. The career is, when you play offensive line, you got to play 10 or more years, right? And when you look at it that way, it's very challenging. And you could have a Hall of, like Eli Manning is probably going to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's a great example.
He's probably a better example than Baselli, but he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. But he's had Hall of Fame seasons, not a Hall of Fame career. If you look at him compared to other quarterbacks on the list, I mean, you have to go down. I mean, he's not anywhere near it. I mean, right now, based on performance and everything, Eli Manning and Russell Wilson and Ken Anderson are in the same category.
I wish.
But here's the problem. Stabler, Jurgensen, Warren Moon, Namath, Lenny Dawson, they're all below Eli, and they're in. Yeah. So once he gets in, all of a sudden, wait a minute.
Literally the next note on my sheet. I wish you were sitting next to me. I could show you this because I wrote down Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer? He won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2. Well, is he a Hall of Famer?
He's not, for me. He's not. But but I don't have a vote. I mean, I wrote a book about the Hall of Fame. I don't have a vote. I mean, if he is, Matt Ryan should go in. Do you think Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer?
I think there's something to be said for. He won an MVP. He went to a Super Bowl. He has longevity, and he's got stats in aggregate, right? I mean, he's one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, you're probably looking at it. I would assume Matt Ryan's in the top 10 in the history of the NFL in passing yardage. So I think he's going to get in. Yes, I do. I don't know. I don't know that
to get in.
Sure.
I mean, if you're going to go put Eli in, you got to put Matt Ryan in. I mean, I think Phillip Rivers is more of a Hall of Famer than Eli.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. But it's the Super Bowls that people are going to remember. It's fascinating. Michael Lombardi's with us. He's the author of Football Done Right. It's Amazon, anywhere you get books, you can find it there. And this is such a fascinating topic. I would love to know also, I mean, just sort of as the segue into tonight, Michael, like, what about Patrick Mahomes? I mean, is he already with 2 Super Bowls, even if he doesn't, continue on this incredible trajectory how he started? Is he already a Hall of Famer?
I don't think he's. Yeah, I mean, eventually he's going to get in there. But right now, if you put his career in, if you put his career, he is really high up there in terms of ranking. Mm-hmm. In terms of what he's been able to do. But he's got it. But again, he's got to have a little bit longer of a shelf life, right? I mean, right now I didn't put him in my top 100 players, because when I was writing the book, he hadn't won his second Super Bowl. I mean, I think if I redid, I think the one thing about my book is there'll be some guys that age well in the book, and there'll be some guys that maybe don't age as well. For example, I think Rob Gronkowski, I have at 61st best player. I think he'll move up the list over time.
Okay.
But it takes time. It takes time to move up, And so, I think when you compare Patrick to Troy Aikman won 3 titles. Aikman played 12 years, and Aikman's in the Hall of Fame. And Aikman's numbers, if you project Patrick Mahomes out, he's going to have a better career than Aikman did.
3-time Super Bowl winner, Michael Lombardi. If I asked you of your 3 championship experiences with different coaches, obviously, what is there one that stands out for a reason above the others personally to you?
I would say I think the New England win against when we beat Atlanta, that team there, gave me great pride to be a part of that team. And I think the Malcolm Butler interception game was everything about Belichick, that why he's the greatest coach and one of the greatest coaches of all time. His ability to see the non-obvious, make decisions, see the advancement, know we had to do something in the front, and make everybody do it and not blink in the most critical time. I think those kind of – but look, let's be honest. I mean, all of them are so good.
Yeah.
All of them are so good. It's just, when you get there, it's hard as hell to get there. And if you win it, man, you never forget it.
What's your thought on Andy Reid?
He's going to be in it. That's why I wrote the criteria. I think it's nonsense that we don't have a criteria for coaches. I mean, I think it's nonsense that we don't have a criteria for coaches. But, Andy Reid's the 5th winningest coach in all time in the NFL right now.
It's so interesting.
Now we're playing
No, go ahead, please.
We're playing a lot more games. Here's the thing that would blow people away, right? Mike McCarthy's the 20th winning coach of all time and has a Super Bowl. And he's got a 61% winning percentage. We treat Mike McCarthy in the media like he is just the janitor down the street.
Right. It's fascinating, Mike, because he had so many great teams in Green Bay, but he got the 1 Super Bowl. And so we look and we go, well, just the 1, right? You had Aaron Rodgers and you should have done more. It's fascinating how we frame the conversation publicly, which is why I think the book is a phenomenal idea. Football Done Right. Setting the Record Straight on the Coaches, Players, and History of the NFL. The author is Michael Lombardi, a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He's been in basically every role you can. As self-described lackey for Bill Walsh, would be a great job, all the way up, of course, the GM of the Cleveland Browns, and has done so much in football. Hey, I would love a thought as we push off from the dock on this season tonight with the Chiefs and the Lions. You have a thought tonight, and especially maybe put on a GM hat. What would you do, or what would you advise your coaches to do whenever you got Chris Jones holding out and Travis Kelce hyperextending his knee 2 days before the season starts?
I would say we got to play the long game. You know, we'd rather have Kelce for 16 games than have him for a quarter and have him miss 4 more games. Right? Mm-hmm. So I would rather have that. And I think that's really important. You got to look, here's what you want to have. You want to have your team playing the best in November and December and January. That's the goal of any great coach. That's what last year, Mike Tomlin, who's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yes.
His team was playing the best football at the end of the year. Everybody talks about the Detroit Lions. Pittsburgh was the better team at the end of the year. They were physically dominating on defense. They were so good, and yet no one talks about that because they're not flashy on offense. They don't meet the analytical criteria that a lot of people put out. And so, but I think when you look at them, they were really good, and that's how you want to win. That's how you have to win.
It's fascinating, man. I can't wait to get my hands on the book and dive into it. Football Done Right. Setting the Record Straight on the Coaches, Players, and History of the NFL by Michael Lombardi. I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, but I'm going to let you go. I've kept you long. We always appreciate the visit, and hopefully we'll get to do it again soon, Michael. Congrats on the book, and we appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Anytime.
It is our pleasure. Michael Lombardi, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here on the opening night of the NFL. That's great perspective, though. You talk about, because we do talk we do talk so much about the Hall of Fame in context of moments. It's not the numbers, but when you start to aggregate numbers, I mean, the thing he said that stood out the most is when you talk about Dan Reeves and Marty Schottenheimer, who generally aren't considered Hall of Fame coaches because they didn't win the Super Bowl. And yet they're 2 of only 9 men in the world that have ever won 200 NFL games. Why are they not in the Hall of Fame? I mean, to have that amount of longevity and success. And honestly, that's probably the same brush. Is this fair? That's the same brush with which we would have painted Andy Reid until he won in Kansas City. He's got 2 now, so it's a no-doubter. But the narrative about Andy Reid for so many years, all those years in Philly, they won so consistently for so long, but they couldn't get over the hump. He only got to the 1 Super Bowl, and they lost it to New England, and they ran him out of town in Philly. So it's so interesting how we look at the NFL, because we don't look at the NFL through the same prism that we do baseball and other sports. But Michael Lombardi's always been great. I know I've shared this with you before. I don't know if you remember, but Michael is, when he was the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, Michael hired our friend Carly McCord to work for the Cleveland Browns. And when Carly came and worked with us, she would talk to Michael, and he would come on the show somewhat regularly, and a great man. And I know talked on his podcast about Carly in such a complimentary way, obviously, and Carly's family and friends and all were always very appreciative of that. I did tell him that off air, by the way. But anyway, just for some perspective on not only the GM and the person, but the man himself also. It was just a good man, and we appreciate his time. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. And we got to get to what to watch. Muse, Paulie, and I will do this every Thursday throughout football season. On Thursday, we'll tell you what we're watching on the football weekend, 3 apiece. And we come back on Monday, we'll kind of recap our what to watch. College and pro. We did it last week. It was just college. But this weekend, college and NFL. We'll get into what to watch next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. 2 great hotel properties, amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. They are getting ready over at the Renaissance, by the way, for the LSU Fighting Tigers. We keep telling you the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge, that's where the LSU football team stays the night before every home game. So this Friday, LSU will be at the Renaissance Hotel. And look, if they can host the LSU football team and all of their meetings, like every position group has their own meeting room, there's full team meetings, they do all their team meals in big ballrooms and stuff. So They can host LSU. They can host your event as well. There's always something going on as well. At Tallulah, inside the Renaissance Hotel, they've got live music each night throughout the weekend. So get on by the Renaissance Hotel. Have a meal at Tallulah. I keep telling y'all, Chef Jason Hebert won the gold medal at the Baton Rouge Epicurean Society's Fête Rouge event. Go try it today. It's Tallulah, inside the Renaissance Hotel.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Ryan Clark in 23 minutes. Excited to have RC back. Remember, when Ryan's here, we get to do college talk with RC. He does so much for the NFL. Of course, on NFL Live, now hosting Inside the NFL. But when we get him here, we can talk LSU, which I know is a passion of his, and he's great at it. And so we're excited to have RC back with us on Thursdays. And then Mike Triplett, we'll talk some Saints with Mike Triplett coming up in about 45 minutes from right now. Okay, a Thursday staple during football season is back. Still what to watch.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All right, if you're new to the show, we go around the room, and each of us will list 3 things that we're watching this football weekend. College, pro, doesn't matter. 3 things we're keeping an eye on this football weekend. Fire away there, Muse.
All right, I'm going to get started in pro with the NFL. I'm watching debuts for rookie quarterbacks. Specifically, you have Bryce Young facing off against the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, boy, what a test for C.J. Stroud going up against the Ravens. And, of course, Anthony Richardson as well with the Colts, man. It'd be very interesting to see how those guys get their career started.
All right, I need to find a new one. That was my second. Paulie.
I'm going to the college game. I'm watching Ole Miss and Tulane.
Okay.
We all know Tulane had the awesome 2022 season with the Cotton Bowl win over USC. Last weekend, Michael Pratt led Tulane to victory over South Alabama, one of the top teams in the Sun Belt. Ole Miss, year 4 in Lane Kiffin. This one's in Ullman Stadium in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So let's see if Tulane can pull off another big win.
All right, for me, the SEC last week had 2 Power 5 non-conference games. They did not go well. Florida lost at Utah. LSU, of course, lost to Florida State. This weekend, Vanderbilt at Wake Forest. Texas A&M at Miami. Is the Bobby Petrino experiment for real? Of course, the big one, Texas at Alabama. And then 2 lesser games, but worth keeping an eye on, is both rookie coaches in the league, Zach Arnett and Hugh Freeze, are both taking on Power 5 non-conference opponents. State hosts Arizona. Auburn is on the road at Cal. So you have 5 SEC teams taking on their Power 5 non-conference opponents. Can they save face for the league? Going to keep an eye on that this weekend.
What a way to punctuate this weekend of football. Then with Monday Night Football, the Jets and the Bills. Aaron Rodgers, his Jets debut. Going to be interesting to see him in a uniform other than the Packers. Doesn't get an easy start. Got to go up against the Bills, who I picked earlier in the show to win the AFC East. Be very interested to see if the Jets can get off on the right foot with Aaron Rodgers.
I'm also watching another debut in the NFL. This one is for former coach Sean Payton.
I'm excited about that one. I'm curious to see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. A lot of former Saints players obviously on the Broncos. And then also I'm interested to see if Russell Wilson can turn around his awful season he had last year.
So last week I mentioned Iowa, and I'm going to keep watching Iowa. This is Iowa at Iowa State, by the way. They're in Ames. So you've got, what are they? The Cyhawk. The Cyhawk Trophy. Yeah. But that's a 2:30 game on Fox. It's interesting for a couple of reasons. Of course, number one, Iowa's OC, Ferentz's kid, has to score. It's got to average 25 a game, right?
They scored 24.
They scored 24. They had 14 they said 14 points in the first quarter.
That's so good.
So anyway, that's part of it. Can you keep the pace? But also, remember, the Big Ten West is a joke. That's the team that's going to face any of Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Iowa, Wisconsin are probably the teams that are most likely to get there. But if Iowa can find a semblance of an offense, they might be a team that's a giant spoiler in the Big Ten. So keep an eye on Iowa.
It's also the battle of gambling scandals, Iowa and Iowa State.
Hey!
Yeah. Maybe you can get a sportsbook membership or something there.
The Cyhawk Trophy should have like a bag of cash on the top.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, how about that?
Your betting slip.
Yeah.
How about that?
Coach Prime, home debut. And this is interesting for a lot of reasons. Obviously, home debut for one. That's going to be a wild crowd in Boulder. But the letdown effect is something that needs to be talked about. Nebraska's not good. Colorado should absolutely win this game. But they are only a 3-point favorite. You're going to have the home crowd going with you. There's going to be a lot of emotion coming off that huge win. Can Coach Prime in Colorado avoid the letdown in the home debut? That is something I'm interested in.
I agree with the Nebraska's not good thing. Nebraska, I don't think, has a great offense.
Nebraska's offense is not good.
But Colorado's defense
is bad.
Is objectively not great. Now, Travis Hunter is great, but in total, that Colorado defense might be susceptible. It's very interesting. I think that's a fascinating game.
The letdown spot is intriguing there. That being said, I have laid the 3 points of Colorado because I am the public.
Okay. Paulie, what you got?
I am watching the oldest rivalry in the NFL.
No, you're not.
The Packers and the Bears.
No, you're not.
I will watch this game. I'm interested to see Jordan Love era finally in Green Bay starts this weekend. I'm also interested to see if Justin Fields can take the next step. I think these are both two good young quarterbacks. We'll see if they can get this rivalry started back up again.
Hold on. Wait, Muse, did you do Rodgers in the Jets?
Yes.
Okay, I missed it. I'm sorry. I must have blacked out. That's going to be a great game. Buffalo at the Jets is going to be great. Okay.
Punctuate the weekend, too.
Okay. That's Monday Night Football. Yes. I must have blacked out. I missed that entirely. My apologies. The three of us all picked the Cincinnati Bengals to win the Super Bowl. All three of us, if you missed it in hour one, we went through our division winners, our wild card teams, and our AFC, NFC champions, and the Super Bowl champion. All three of us have Bengals, Eagles in the Super Bowl and picked Cincinnati to win it. Well, the battle for Ohio is going down for real with the Bengals at the Browns. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Is Joe Burrow healthy? Is Deshaun Watson ready to revert to the form when he looked like he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory early in his career in Houston? Then he basically benched for a year in Houston, misses half the year last year. The Saints went to Cleveland and won in like negative 10-degree weather last December. Like, Bengals, Browns, huge show your cards game in week one. Is Burrow healthy? What is Deshaun Watson? I got to see the Battle of Ohio noon on CBS. Although I'll be locked into the Saints at noon on CBS. But maybe I'll have that one on the second screen. All right, that's what we're watching this weekend in football. We're glad to have you aboard with us here every single day. Brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Tell you every day, Traction, where champions are made. Remember, not only do they have sports-specific training for your son or daughter, world-class facility, world-class trainers, Mac Chiwilli, Tevin Moten, the whole staff over there. They're incredible. But also, remember this, they've got Traction Physical Therapy as well. So if you need PT, remember, you choose where you go for physical therapy. Your doctor can make recommendations, but if you need PT, you choose where you go for physical therapy. Choose the best. Choose Traction Elite Physical Therapy. The staff over there is amazing. They've got all the latest technologies as well, some stuff that you won't find anywhere else in the state. It's over at Traction Elite Physical Therapy. Same spot, right there at their campus on Burbank. When you park in that main parking lot facing Burbank, and there's that breezeway. The left is the big gym facility. The right is the PT facility, so you could walk right in there. So if you want to get back, on the links, if you're a swimmer, you want to get back in the pool, if you're a runner and you want to get back on the road again, Traction Elite Physical Therapy can help you get there. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Ryan Clark in 15 minutes. Can LSU fix their secondary? I mean, if you missed it, we started the show today with can you play the Omar Spates cut again, please? If you missed this, Omar Spates met with the media yesterday. He was asked what Harold Perkins' role is going to be this weekend. Here's what he said.
I think this week we're going to put him in more outside the box, like let him be him type stuff this week. So bring Greg Penn back in the box, open up some opportunities for him. I think it's going to be good this week.
So Omar Spates just told you they're moving Harold Perkins back outside. Put Greg Penn in at off-ball linebacker next to Omar Spates. Guy had 80 tackles a year ago. Let Perkins go be Perkins, see how that looks. So I get we're all going to be keeping an eye on that. If you generate a pass rush, Mason Smith, Harold Perkins back on the outside. If you generate pressure, generate a pass rush, how much does that help your secondary? That's going to be fascinating. But again, we also understand the level of competition this week as opposed to last week and what it will be next week. So RC will be with us here in about 15 minutes or so. We'll get his take on that. Mike Triplett talking some Saints in about 30 minutes. All right, we're glad you're with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back. We'll do Tigers and the Pros. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darin James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find it. It's agent225.com. Agent225.com. Tell you all the time. Make sure not only are you memorizing Darin's number that I give you every day, or write it down, or going to the website agent225.com. Make sure you're following Darin James on all of his social media as well. So often, Darin will use his social media to give you great advice. Like, he has one that's a seller tip. He says, beat the competition with condition. He writes, get as many repairs done as you can. A great selling point for buyers is a home with very low or non-existent repairs. So follow Darin. He's always giving you great advice there as well on all of his social media. And if you need a realtor, you need Darin James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darin James.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Okay, wrapping up hour number 2. Let's do it. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
The Seattle Seahawks, they restructured Jamal Adams' contract, converting $9.92 million of his 2023 salary into a signing bonus. That's according to Spotrac. So it cleared $6 million plus in cap space. Jamal Adams' new cap hit for 2023, $11.4 million. Of course, this is part of a 4-year extension worth $70 million back in 2021. More contract news in the NFL. The Dolphins signed long snapper Blake Ferguson to a contract extension. That was announced on Wednesday. The extension runs through 2026. Now, he was in the final year of his contract, scheduled to make $1 million in base salary. The terms of the new deal not disclosed. Of course, Ferguson, a 6th-round pick in 2020. Major League Baseball, Alex Bregman last night, 2 for 5 with a run scored against the Rangers, who have just cratered. One of the 2 hits was Bregman's 25th double of the season. We have DJ LeMahieu last night, 2 for 4 with a run, or the RBI for LeMahieu in that ball game.
No, we don't. No,
I forgot to pull it up. Blake Money.
You're fired.
Hold that thought. Blake Money last night got the save, 2 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. That is just the most Blake Money line ever. But it results in his first save of his professional career. Shout out to Blake Money. All you have to do, get the last 3 outs before that final run scores, and he did that. Daniel Cabrera. Haven't had Daniel Cabrera in a minute. He was on the developmental list. He's back now with the Erie Sea Wolves. 1 for 2, 8th double of the year, and drew a couple of walks. Did Daniel Cabrera in that ball game. And now for me to be rehired.
Nope.
Yep.
You're fired.
Nope.
Fired.
Paul Gervais. Shut out inning of baseball last night with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. No hits, no runs, no walks. Didn't punch anybody out, but just really lowered that ERA down to 4.5 now after a really rough start when he got moved up to Double-A.
If you go to Twitter or X and search Paul Gervais,
yeah,
and there's like, top latest people, what the top tweet that comes up?
Is it you dancing a pony?
No.
Oh, that'd have been good. What is it?
It's when we had Trey Morgan and Kay Doty in studio,
and
I asked them about who's the pitcher there, they hate facing the most, and Trey said
Gervais.
There it is, top tweet. Pull that up.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
Right there. There it is, right there.
Riding.
Kind of like Cyclone better. But I do like Genuine, I'm not going to lie. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Put a ring on it. And then, there's a pony reference. I'm just not going to get there. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Check them out online. Schedule service online. Shop your tires online. Hey, look, when you go to the car and you look and you see, man, those tires, the tread on those tires get a little threadbare right now. It's time. Well, where are you going to go to buy tires? You can go to the box store. You're going to go to the membership club. You're going to go to another tire store. No, you're not. You're going to go to Shawbills, because when you go to Shawbills, they're going to sell you the best tires on the road. Name brands. Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone, the best tires. And they're going to sell it to you for the cheapest price possible. As a matter of fact, they guarantee it. That's part of Charlie's Dozen. You buy tires at Shawbills. If you find that same tire advertised cheaper, they'll give you 125% of the price of that tire. They'll basically pay you back for your tire, plus some. It's at Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I'm Doug Brown. Tonight is the night, opening night in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs will raise their Super Bowl banner before kickoff against the Lions. The Chiefs are 4.5-point favorites tonight, and ESPN's Alex Smith doesn't see the Lions pulling an upset.
I see a big day from Patrick tonight. Matt Nagy back in the offensive coordinator position, who's been there. Obviously has a great relationship with Patrick, was there as the offensive coordinator when we drafted him. I see fireworks tonight from the Super Bowl champs.
Alex Smith, ESPN's Ed Werder reports Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce wants to play, but the decision could be up to head coach Andy Reid. Kelce hyperextended his knee in practice this week. He hasn't missed a game with an injury since his rookie year 10 years ago. ESPN's Pete Thamel reports Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels expected to play against Illinois tomorrow night after missing the opener. Women's semifinals at the U.S. Open tonight. Coco Gauff against Karolina Muchova. Then Madison Keys against the new number 1 in the world, Irina Sabalenka. Coverage at 7 Eastern on ESPN.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. And it is our distinct pleasure to welcome back to After Further Review, RC.
It's time to talk Tigers with former LSU safety Ryan Clark. Presented by DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today.
All right, let's get it. RC's back. Taking a break from his 8 million jobs inside the NFL, host, of course, NFL Live, The Pivot. Y'all know where to find him everywhere. RC, great to chat, man. Thank you for the time. How are you?
You know, brother, I'm doing well. Have an interesting story to share.
Okay.
As I was watching our LSU Tigers be lambasted by the Florida State Seminoles in the second half. I was sitting next to a priest on a plane. I was watching it. I was watching it on my phone, and everything in me wanted to lean over to the priest and said, "Sir, can you please pray for my school? Because apparently we ain't living right."
Oh,
but
man.
You know what? I thought he might have asked me to go to confession, and that wasn't a place I wanted to be at the time.
All of the sins from 2019 are coming back, I guess, to us right now. We got to enjoy 20. I mean, RC, you got to smoke cigars on a balcony in New Orleans on that morning, and everything we did to enjoy that championship, we're paying for it now, I guess, right now, man.
Yeah, you know, I feel like looking back, I may have done too much.
It was so worth it, though. God, it was so worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to ask you I want to ask you about LSU football in a second, but I want to ask first. So, congrats on Inside the NFL. That's
thank you, brother.
That's amazing and awesome and everything. I know everybody's congratulated you. I am going to ask a selfish question. I want to hear about how you filmed the promo. For those that haven't seen it, go check out RC's social media. It's about a 2.5-minute promo where it's clearly one shot, one take, where you're narrating it on camera. So, all right, give me the deets here. It's incredible.
So I don't know if you watched the pivot with Angel Reese and Flage.
Yes.
So I wrote that opening that talked to the guy from Barstool that was just talking about what these girls had gone through, what they had accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just sat down because our show doesn't normally start like that. So I sat down. I was like, okay, just start filming and I'll do it. So that was like 3.5 minutes, and I knocked it out in one take. And so then there was Travis Rudolph's show, and we had an opening to that. It was more newsy, and I did the same thing. And all the people who were there while we were filming were basically like, it's almost as if you're reading a prompter. I was like, this is how my brain works. And so when I got the gig at Inside the NFL, I was like, I want to do an intro to the show. So they let me talk to like the guy that writes Hard Knocks, the guy that does the narration for that. And he wrote something for me, but it sounded like a middle-aged white man wrote it. And so I rewrote it. And so the CW is there, bro. The head of their non-scripted department is there. And the vice president of NFL Films, I sent it to him. He was like, okay. He's like, but what about if we do it walking? So I was like, not only do you want me to do it without a prompter, you want me to do something I've written in front of the CW, you want me to do it walking too. And then he goes, and I bet it takes at least 2 takes. And like, if you're watching as I'm finishing it, because this is actually the intro to our first show.
Yeah.
If you're watching me as I'm finishing, Channing is sitting behind, like is sitting at the desk, and he's smiling because for him, he's watched me do it before. But there are all these people that are there, and obviously it's the huge question about why they picked me as the host, who don't know I can do that.
Right.
And so there's a video. My host, my producer from the Pivot, worked at Films for 10 years. So she's in the control room and she's videoing it when I finish it, and somebody in the background just goes, "That's pretty mother effing good."
That's so good. If you have never seen, so there's a movie, The Big Lebowski. If you've never seen it, the final scene of that movie it's a one-shot deal where there's this whole interaction. They pan back, and then a guy steps up in a bowling alley and bowls a strike. So if he would have not bowled a strike, they would have had to redo it anyways, and the whole thing hits. And it's whenever you see something like that on one take, it's pretty incredible. So, bravo, job well done. That was awesome. I'm pumped.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, this is really my only question.
Okay.
Is it possible for LSU secondary to get better this year?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Now, I'm going to say this. Florida State's receivers are really good. Like those guys are talented. I guess we don't recruit Opelousas anymore. Is that our new thing? We don't recruit players from there, because I like that guy on our team.
Yeah,
seems like a good player to me.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I can say this, and I don't remember the young man's name, so forgive me. When I'm watching LSU play, and I keep hearing Kirk Herbstreit say the transfer from Syracuse. I can't get that out of my head.
Yeah.
This is LSU, bro. This is DBU. And at this point, Florida State's throwing at a guy, and every time they throw at him, they say the transfer from Syracuse. So we're going to upstate New York to find people to play defensive back? Like that's the position we're in as a team. And, you know, I think two of the top recruits from Louisiana in 2024 who are defensive backs, one of them's going to Texas A&M in 2024, and the other one's going to Florida where Corey Raymond is. Yeah. And I do believe the defensive secondary can get better, but I also believe it's a problem if this is where we are when we're looking to find players to play DB for us.
Yeah, when Dwight McGlothern and Eli Ricks transferred out, it left LSU in a hole, and they got to rebuild that room, and they got some freshmen there, and they got some guys they're recruiting right now, but there's no way around it, RC. I mean, you're 100% right. You had to go get guys that have played major college football. So I guess when you're watching that game, RC, I'm curious how much of, and you're not watching in all 22. I get it. You're watching. We don't know the call, but you know way more about this than I ever will. How much could scheme have improved, and how much of it was just their guy in wearing 4 was just so much better?
That was a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a lot of it. You look at the pump screen to the tight end 6 that hit that schematic and also assignment football by LSU. But when you think about some of those fade balls and some of those 50-50 things, is that their guy is 4 inches taller with a longer wingspan. You know, he did that 2 times. There was the catch on Major and then also the catch in the corner. So, you know, those things just happen. I think what I'm most disappointed about schematically is clearly 4 was a very good player for Florida State, right? You think he's a good player. He's a good receiver, right?
This is going to be a first-round
pick. You know who else is a good player? Number 4 that plays defense for LSU.
Yeah.
You know when he doesn't get to be great? When you make him the middle backer and the spy on Jordan Travis all night. The thing about college football and why it's such a beautiful game is because it has so much to do with recruiting, so much to do with the Jimmies and the Joes. We have one of the best Jimmies and the Joes, or Jimmy or Joe in the world, in Harold Perkins. There shouldn't be a game in life that he doesn't affect the stat sheet, and he didn't. It's the same reason Michael Parsons is now a defensive end, because you want to find ways to allow him to create turnovers, allow him to create disruptions, and we didn't do that defensively. It's not always about how you stop the other team. It's how you make the other team stop you. How do I make you block Michael Parsons? How do I make you block Aaron Donald? How do I make you throw the football at Jalen Ramsey? Right? How do I put him in a place where you got to go see him? That's what we have to be thinking about our playmakers, both offensively and defensively.
All right, last thing. How much will, and by the way, so Omar Spates, LSU's linebacker, transfer from Oregon State, when he's meeting with the media last night, essentially spilled the beans that Perkins is going to go play out the box on Saturday, and they're going to start Greg Penn on the inside. How much will having a pass rush help this secondary, which clearly has some personnel deficiencies?
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. You know, you miss Mason Smith early on. That hurts you. You're not able to get the pass rush that you want. Adding Harold Perkins in some way to that pass rush, I think, makes this a better team. But it changes the game when a quarterback doesn't have time. When a quarterback is moved off of his spot, it creates inaccuracy. And so I think that's a huge part of what they have to do. But the question is, how sound are you on the back end? How much do you believe in your talent in the secondary to start to add people to the rush and leave those guys one-on-one with an inability to play zone and have over-the-top coverage. And so I think that's a piece of it as well. And we also have to remember, too, Matt, we're in this new world of the transfer portal where it's great to feel like you can go out and get experienced, seasoned players. You know, I mean, Colorado won a game with all transfers. But the other piece of it is, too, you got to get those dudes to gel. You got to get those dudes to have a great sense of communication with one another. And that's a huge part of coaching all of these new players as well.
RC, you're the best, man. I know you're, like, just slammed and you're taking on a bajillion jobs. So to still jump on with us, I really appreciate you as always, man. We appreciate the time and the perspective. It's never lost on us, man. So we appreciate you.
My man, have a great one, brother.
All right, RC. That is Ryan Clark. He's on Twitter at RealRClark25. Make sure y'all check out Inside the NFL on the CW. Like, that is it. I mean, RC's hosting Inside the NFL. That is incredible, man. I mean, his story in media is something that, and it really, yes, the fact that he played clearly allowed him the opportunity to have an opportunity, right? But what he's done with that and doing the pivot and taking advantage of the opportunity he got has been incredible, man. I'm pumped for him. So it's a great lesson to anybody who wants to do media. Like, start creating content, be great at it. People will notice. All right, Mike Triplett's coming up, brought to you by DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Y'all, opening night tonight. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on tonight's game. Chiefs, Lions, any NFL bet. Make a $5 bet. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's for all new customers. If you've been on the fence, think about, do I want a sports bet? It's way more fun when you got something on the line. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the NFL. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. And every game day during September, they will have additional bonuses or additional opportunities and additional bets for all DraftKings Sportsbook customers. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. License partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, giddy up. We got to get to Mike Triplett. We'll talk some Saints Titans as, man, we are 72 hours away from the start of, less than 72 hours away from the start of the Saints season. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Fired up every day to tell you about River City's 1 Hour Air because I love telling you about great companies that treat people right. That's River City's 1 Hour Air. Tell you every day to go read the Google reviews. How many companies would be terrified to send people to their Google reviews? Not River City's 1 Hour Air, because they've got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of their next closest competitor because they're awesome. Sunday, I woke up, our house was hot. I called River City's 1 Hour Air at like 9:20 in the morning. Within an hour, before 10 a.m., I had someone at my house. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001. You drive around town, like, you'll notice this. You'll start to notice this when I say it. You'll drive around town, and you'll start to see how many of those yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side that you see, because your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 Hour Air because they have that sterling reputation. They've got expertly trained technicians that treat you right, that explain your options, that do fair work, do great work at a fair price. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Mike! Yeah?
Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football, presented by Benny's Car Wash, family owned and operated since 1951.
All right, let's do it. Every Thursday, for as long as the Saints are playing football in this slot, Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football will be with us. Talk a little who dat. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? For as long as the Saints are playing football, that's your, in case they go to the Super Bowl qualifier, what's the date? How long are we doing this for?
Playoffs. I mean, it could be wild card, it could be division, it could be championship, it could be the Super Bowl, could be. We could run through the second week of February. I mean, I would love it if that's the case. Not sure. How optimistic are you that could be the case?
Well, I mean, Super Bowl is aiming really high, but it's a huge disappointment they don't win the division, right?
Is it?
I think it's a huge disappointment if they don't win the division. I mean, I only picked this team to go 10-7. I'm optimistic. I like what they've built. I feel like they're tenuous in a few spots, but the rest of this division is all taking the year off. I guess Atlanta's trying. They're on the way back from a rebuild, but it would be a huge disappointment for that reason. In addition to the Saints' own individual aspirations.
Let me ask you about Carolina, because, and this isn't a Carolina or NFC South segment, but Carolina and the Saints had the same record a year ago, and Carolina beat you twice. And they went and got decidedly better, not just by drafting a quarterback, Mike, but they went and added receivers, and they went and added a running back and really good defensive players. Like, Carolina got better. Why are we ignoring them?
Carolina might have gotten better. Since the beginning of last season, they traded away Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore and questions on the offensive line. I'm not saying Carolina can't be competitive with the Saints, though. I mean, I think Vegas probably has their win totals a win apart. But I'm saying it would be a huge disappointment if the team that traded away if the team that traded away DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey and Baker Mayfield mid-season last year and went all in on the number one pick in the draft, if you let them leapfrog you now, while you've got this veteran team that just invested in Derek Carr and obviously is in more win-now mode, it is a huge disappointment. Carolina will get there soon, but you better not let them get there this year already.
I agree with you, by the way. I have the Saints 10-7 winning the division.
Yeah.
And if they don't win this division, that's awful. You've got to win this division. Okay, so let's talk about Sunday. By the way, Jake Haener, did his biceps go from like 18 inches to 36 inches? How big did his biceps get with the PEDs?
It's kind of the smartest thing I've ever seen a team come up with, because you wanted to keep him on the 53-man roster. You know, sometimes you hide guys on the injured reserve. I've never seen a team hide a guy on the suspension list, and he's getting stronger at the same time, so it's perfect. Now,
hey, does he? No, real quick. I understand.
It's got to be really frustrating.
Real quick. Why, at this point of clarification, is when he's suspended, does he still have to be on the 53?
No.
Okay.
Same with Alvin Kamara, not on the 53 during that time.
Okay.
And not getting paid either.
Well, that sucks for them, but still, it's what it is. What does this mean for the quarterback position, though? Because it kind of felt like the Saints might be trying to sneak, maybe Jameis as an emergency third option, potentially with Taysom. Like, what are they doing there at quarterback with Taysom and all that stuff?
My interpretation so there is a new rule that you get a bonus roster spot on game days for a third quarterback that will only be used in case of emergencies. Think of the 49ers in the playoffs last year, obviously being the impetus for this rule. And so the Saints made a big deal out of, or not a big deal out of, they kind of snuck it on there that Taysom Hill is now called a quarterback again, even though that's not going to change how they use him. And I think that rule has to be a factor. But my guess is that it won't be a factor in the sense of making Jameis inactive, because I still think they want Jameis to be their backup quarterback. If Derek Carr, God forbid, gets hurt on the first series, I think they would want Jameis to play quarterback for the rest of the game. But I think there could be a scenario where if either Derek Carr or Jameis Winston gets hurt, then Taysom Hill indeed is your number 2 backup quarterback probably the next week after that. And I think they probably just wanted to make sure he is labeled as such and treated as such. And I think he is now the number 3 quarterback, and he's an injury away from being the number 2 quarterback. But I don't think they're going to try to sneak Jameis into that emergency role, because to do that, you'd have to be making Taysom your backup quarterback on game day, and I doubt that's what they want to do.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Of course, NewOrleans.football. Our convos are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash all throughout the year. The last time the Saints played the Titans, Derrick Henry didn't play.
Last 2 times. They've never faced Derrick Henry. Dennis Allen dropped that one today, and I was like, that can't be right, and it is true.
Wow.
They've never faced Derrick Henry.
So that was also the time when the Saints actually were good at stopping the run. Last year, they were decidedly not good at stopping the run. That's what it was. I mean, they had that long streak. What was it, almost 60 games or whatever it was, where they no, longer than that, where they didn't allow a 100-yard rusher. Last year, they were 24th in the NFL in rush defense. So any reason to believe this team is prepared to stop Derrick Henry on Sunday?
Well, they've made it their focus, Matt. I mean, it's a huge question mark heading into the season, and I don't love this matchup for Week 1 because I think teams across the NFL stink at tackling in Week 1 every year since they don't practice doing it in the summer.
Right.
So I don't love this Week 1 matchup for them, although the Titans' offensive line is also kind of revamped and hasn't gotten physical work in either. So I guess that works both ways. But it's a big test because, yes, the Saints' defensive line play and run defense in general did drop off last year noticeably after it had been really the strength of the team and maybe the best in the NFL over a 4 or 5 year stretch. And they did 2 different things. One, they changed all the players out pretty much except for Cam Jordan. We saw David Onyemata go, Shy Tuttle go, Marcus Davenport go. And they added Brian Brzee in the draft, Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard, some young guys who are going to play bigger roles. Malcolm Roach is going to play a bigger role. Peyton Turner is going to play a bigger role. Carl Granderson. But they also got smaller and faster and more athletic, which obviously should help with the pass rush. But part of that is a strategy to be more aggressive and attacking in run defense. And that's going to require, if you want to do that, if you want to attack all the gaps, You got to be really disciplined. You can't leave one open, or Derrick Henry will make you pay. So we're going to find out a lot about this team and how good they're going to be at run defense.
What's your biggest question on defense?
That's it. That would
defense.
be it, no matter who they were playing in week 1. The fact that they're playing Derrick Henry and the Titans makes it magnified times 10.
Are you I know this is like a scale and a super subjective question, but what is your level of confidence with this defense? Define it however you want. I'm not just talking about run defense, but as a whole. Are they a top 10 defense? Should they be really good? Or
I think they're a top 10 defense. I think they're a top 10 defense. They were what, number 2 pass defense last year? That doesn't feel right to me. That number doesn't. I don't think they actually felt like the number 2 pass defense, but I think they can be. I think if Marshawn Lattimore is healthy all season, I think he is one of the best corners in the league. I think Tyrann Mathieu really got better, and Marcus May got better as the season went along last year. I like them coming into year 2 of this system. If you keep Demario Davis and Pete Werner and Cam Jordan healthy, and then have the rotation of defensive linemen around them, I think this should be a top 10 defense this year, definitely. I don't know if it'll be as good as it was at its peak in 18-19. But I think it should still be a top 10 defense.
You know, and you're right, they were second in the NFL in pass defense. Maybe a part of that too, Mike, was they were trailing so much and teams were running the ball and running at the clock, maybe. But yet, they were 184 pass yards a game, second only behind the Eagles. If you flip it over to offense, this was always the thing that for 16 years we all just knew. Well, they're going to be a top 5 offense. They're going to score a bunch, and Breeze is awesome. And now the last 2 years, especially last year, it was like, Ugh. So. Same question on the offensive side.
Yeah.
You've watched this team a whole bunch now, so what do you think?
It's impossible not to be optimistic about the offense. Derek Carr looks like a perfect fit to run it. I don't know if he'll be a top 10 quarterback, but he's always been right on the fringe of that, and I think this offense gives him a chance to be at the best we've seen him in his best years. And then, you got to like the depth of playmakers. Olave, Michael Thomas has been healthy all summer. Rashid Shaheed is a third. Juwan Thompson looks like he's going to have a good year. They have depth at running back. I think the big thing that it comes down to, though, is the health of the offensive line. If the 5 projected starters on the offensive line stay relatively healthy, if you get 4 of them every week in the lineup, at least, I think it can be an asset, a top 10 offensive line. But it's totally derailed this team the last couple of years, the amount of injuries they've had on the offensive line to where there were games where they just couldn't even gain a first down to save their life. And so there's injury question marks with a lot of these offensive linemen. If they can stay 80% healthy, I think this offense can be not top 10, but top 16, 15, top half of the league. I really think they can be.
No, I don't want to come across as a giant cynic, but I feel like what's happened the past couple of years has sort of molded me that way, Mike. Last year we were talking about this offense with, remember, Michael Thomas back healthy, you draft Chris Olave, you bring in Jarvis Landry, you drafted Trevor Penning, Jameis was healthy again, and they were 5-2 before he got hurt the year before. We were all excited, and then it just unraveled on him offensively. So I'm a little
right, but again, I would point to injuries as the major factor. Jameis Winston, say what you will about your expectations for him as a starter, but he was a starter, and he tore ligaments he broke his back in week 1, tore ligaments in his foot in week 2, and then was never the same again. Michael Thomas was your best offensive player, and he only played 3 games. And then the offensive line was just decimated. They were going into some games without 3 starters. That was when they really hit rock bottom. Teams like Pittsburgh come to mind. And so, Derek Carr is an upgrade at quarterback. A healthy Michael Thomas, a major upgrade at receiver. And, if that offensive line is healthy and you've got Trevor Penning playing to whatever level he's going to play at this year, Ryan Ramczyk playing at his usual level, Cesar Ruiz, James Hurst, I like it. I really, the depth of running backs, I think, helps too. The creativity they lost with Alvin Kamara when he was their only running back, and they were just running him up the middle over and over again. I think now, if they have those running backs at their disposal, they'll get him out in space. They're aware of their shortcomings in that department last year. I think it's going to be a huge focus for Pete Carmichael. There's only one direction this offense could go.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, before you go, the Saints are a 3-point favorite. What do you think, man? They start 1-0?
I think that's the right line because you give 3 points to the home team when two teams are evenly matched. I think these are. I expect the Saints to generally have a better season than the Titans. But in week one, when you never quite know who teams are, I don't like betting on anything in week one in the NFL. This feels like I don't even know if I'd feel comfortable that I'm going to predict the Saints to win, but I'm not going to place any bets and give the Titans 3 points. I think these two teams are in a very similar state. I mean, I mentioned this on the show this week. Titans were the number one seed in the AFC just 2 years ago, and they got off to a good start last year before Tannehill got hurt. In a lot of ways, they really remind me of the Saints, where they are, still keeping the core of their team together, adding a DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. I think a lot of people are writing them off as, oh, yeah, their time is kind of past, but they're not acting like it. They're trying to hold it together and win their division. So, and they do it. They want to have a run game. They want to have good lines. I think there's a lot of similarities in where these teams are in the overall state of the NFL right now.
He's a must-follow at Mike Triplett. Of course, NewOrleans.football. Make sure you're followed up on all their socials and subscribed up at NewOrleans.football on our combos with Mike all throughout the year, brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Mike, we appreciate you, man. Talk next Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, be well. Benny'sCarWash.com. Benny's, BENNYS, Benny'sCarWash.com. Rolled through yesterday. I told you all I have the Benny's membership. Like I did this last year whenever Mike started coming on. I started telling you all about the memberships. It's crazy. It's like I have the wash membership, which is the Express Wash. So it's $16.99 a month. So I just have it auto-drafted out of my account. I roll through Benny's multiple times a week. And then if you want, on any given trip, you can upgrade. So I did yesterday. I went and did the whole interior clean and everything. And remember, when you have a Benny's membership, you get 30 cents, up to 30 cents off per gallon when you buy gas at the Be Quick. So I don't know why you wouldn't do it. You're saving money on gas. You get to keep your car clean for dirt cheap. It's crazy. It's a great deal. It's Benny's Car Wash. We appreciate him for sponsoring our segments here with Mike Triplett all throughout the years. It's the Benny's Club, the Wash Club membership, Benny'sCarWash.com, Benny'sCarWash.com. All right, y'all. Man, gosh, what a show today. I mean, and we were supposed to have Hugh Jackson as well, and our schedules got a little crossways. They had some stuff going on, but it's been. We had our Fantasy Blitz. We did our NFL season picks. Michael Lombardi was here last hour. Ryan Clark, Mike Triplett. We did go up to Grambling and talk to Matt Belinson, who covers Grambling for the Ruston Leader. So been a jam-packed show. You miss anything, catch it on demand. AFR on demand, presented by Brett Golf. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we'll let you hear some of what Mason Smith and Jaden Daniels all had to say as they're getting ready for the game against Grambling this weekend. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Kill mold, remove odor. It is a patented non-toxic dry fog. You've heard me talk about it for months and months and months and months and months now, and it's been kind of incredible because it's not just for residential buildings, but so many public buildings as well. Not only governmental buildings or whatever maybe churches have all called Mold Zero. If you got mold, you need remediation, they can do it cheaper, quicker, less invasive. It's Mold Zero. Learn more at mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Get the phone numbers there at the top of the page. You can scroll down. You can see a lot of their work. They got testimonial videos there when you scroll down. They got pictures of the fog and how it all looks and works. You'll see it all there. And there's a link as well to their the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers full report on this patented non-toxic dry fog. So you can hear you could read what the experts are saying about Mold Zero. Mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Okay, quick break. Talk a little LSU football. Then Jimmy's here for Otter Locks. No doubt he'll have some picks for us tonight for the Chiefs and the Lions. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
I feel great, just taking the time and having to be out, the rehabilitation process, everything. I feel really comfortable with my injury, my knee. I feel real comfortable with it, and, I'm just working to get better.
Mason Smith met with reporters after practice on Wednesday. Excited to see the big fella out there for the first time this season, the first time in more than a year when LSU takes on Grambling Saturday in Tiger Stadium. A little bit of breaking news out of the NFL. We'll get back to Mason Smith in just a quick second. A little breaking news here out of the NFL as tonight, NFL kickoff. It'll be the Chiefs and the Lions. That's great, man. Who are the Chefs? Adam Schefter tweeting just a bit ago, Travis Kelce officially out for the Chiefs tonight against the Lions. It's 100% the right decision. Michael Lombardi, former NFL GM, 3-time Super Bowl winner, was with us last hour. I asked him that question. He's like, you're playing the long game here. You don't sacrifice a quarter of your season potentially by running Travis Kelce out there in this one game. So you play the long game, and that's what the Chiefs are going to do, and it's the right call. But so no Travis Kelce, no Chris Jones. I mean, the two most important players on Kansas City's team on each side of the ball, on either side of the ball, I should say, other than Patrick Mahomes, of course. They're not going to be there. So hasn't really affected the line. It's 4.5. Actually, someone texted me and said the line opened at 6.5. It's hard to imagine that Chris Jones, Travis Kelce would cause the line to move 2 points. I don't know if that's specifically it, but we'll talk about that with Jimmy when he's with us in the next segment. Do a little Otter Locks. Told you, man, Jimmy's crew was incredible on NFL last year. So I know they had several handicappers on the show earlier today, so when Jimmy's with us, we'll see if there was any type of consensus play on tonight's game with the Lions and the Chiefs. It's after further review. We're glad you're with us. As we speak, Brian Kelly is meeting with reporters, and we have a little more breaking news here as well. Just breaking news here at the end of the show. Our buddy Wales Zander, that's what it says, at Wales. It feels like Sean Connery in Celebrity Jeopardy. I'll take Wales Zander for 500. That's WH Alexander _ Mr. Connery. Wilson Alexander, the advocate, says Brian Kelly planning on getting freshman Zalance Hurd first-team offensive tackle reps at some point against Grambling to see how that goes. It's the right time to do it. As a matter of fact, earlier this week, we did our list of the top 6 things or whatever we wanted to see against Grambling, because you'll have the opportunity to tinker, and it looks like each of those. The first one we mentioned was, I want to see Lance Hurd play offensive tackle with the first team. So what we saw in camp was when they went to that, they'd kick Emory Jones down to guard, Hurd went into tackle, and Miles Frazier rotated out. So that's likely what we're going to see. And so it doesn't mean that Hurd starts the game, but at some point with the first team, we'll see Lance Hurd get in there. We talked about wanting to see Harold Perkins kick back down to the outside linebacker, start Greg Penn. Looks like we're going to get to see that. Hopeful to see some of the freshman wideouts. I want to see Ashton Stamps. I want to see Ashton Stamps at corner. Get some run, get his feet wet because they're going to need him. One more thing real quickly here. Mason Smith was asked about the autograph signing. And so it's the first time he's spoken on the record about the thing that caused him to miss the season opener. Here's what he said.
I didn't really know too much about the whole NIL space because at the time, coming to school, there was so much talk about NIL supposed to drop on January 1st, February 1st. Like, it was just month after month after month that there was, saying that it was supposed to launch. And with the lack of knowledge that I had on the subject, I made a decision with a couple of my former teammates, and did sign it. But I do feel like, looking back on it, I didn't really know that was the thing. That's not what I was thinking about when I did it. I was thinking that it was good. Knowing back, I just wish I had more knowledge on the NIL space.
It's a different regime, obviously. I know a lot of you think I'm going to take a shot at Ogeron. I won't. But it is indicative of you gotta have better resources in place to let people know what was allowed, what was not. And maybe LSU felt like they had done everything that they could done at that point to educate their players. But participating in a paid autograph signing literally 3 weeks before NIL went live is just, it's hard to fathom. Anyway, what's done is done. It's in the past. Mason Smith's healthy, ready to roll. He'll be out there against Grambling on Sunday. Or excuse me. Now I got to, because we spent all last week talking about LSU playing on Sunday. Now I got to reframe back to Saturday anyway. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're aboard with us. A quick segment here. Let me knock out our final break. We'll come back, and we'll get to Otter Locks. No doubt Otter will have some plays for us as the Tigers getting ready to take on, as the Chiefs and the Lions are getting. I just go to break.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seaganeer Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. No matter where you are in greater Baton Rouge, they're close. I mean, Segan Airline right there. It's in the middle of South Baton Rouge. Denham Springs. So if you're east, LA 16, there's not another garden center within a 5-mile radius of that one. The Mid-City location on Donmore. So, of course, great to be in that Mid-City or North Baton Rouge area. And then Greenwell Springs, if you're leaving Central on Greenwell Springs, heading toward downtown, I mean, you're on Greenwell Springs Road. Like when you pass the "Thank you for visiting Central" sign, it's immediately on the right. You can't miss it. Y'all, it's fall. The fall decor is here. Displays are being set up as we speak. Pumpkins, hay bales, squash, gourds, corn stalks, scarecrows. Y'all, it's September the 7th. It's time to start thinking about fall decor, Halloween, all that stuff is around the bend. Make sure Clegg's Nursery helps you get set up.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. We always appreciate our friends at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight, as if there was any doubt. Time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only incomparable of an incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. All right, Otter, how are you?
Doing great over here at the Queen Sportsbook, man.
Love
it. Stinky night last night. Got to get that new car that smells Sportsbook. Smells good here, man. Looks good here. Service is good. Everything's good. We'll be here Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. doing football Sunday. Football. Let's get to it, Matthew.
They did it.
What's that?
No, that's your show. Go ahead. Please, by all means. Why would I need to talk? I was just going to say they did a beautiful job at the Queen. It is sterling. The Barstool, or the, oh my goodness, the DraftKings. I was thinking about LeVar. The DraftKings Sportsbook at the Queen is incredible. And the 1717 restaurant, man, I'm going to spend a lot of football Sundays this fall at the Queen. They did an awesome job with that whole renovation. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, when you come here, you realize the 1717 side too has so much. I mean, crazy video walls and things like that.
Yes.
To watch all the games. The NFL Sunday tickets, MLB package, you get it all in 1717. So that's actually where we'll be doing our show on that stage.
Oh, cool.
We do the live band.
Oh, cool.
Well.
Yes.
And so we'll just be hanging over in the 1717 side as well. So yeah, it's done well. So Hard Knocks effect, the last minute, last season run. Man, the Lions run. I mean, the love is a little out of control. This is a short number at home. Jones hurts. No doubt Kelsey, he's out. That hurts. But still, I'm not ready for the Lions to go into Arrowhead and play toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs just yet. I'm laying the 4.5. Most everybody is on the over. I'm on the under as well. That's going to be a little tough. But without Kelsey, that may slow things down a little bit. So Kansas City and the under tonight.
Otter, DraftKings has it at 4 right now. So Even better. Don't worry about that hook. Get on the DraftKings. Keep telling people, get on the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Okay, so Chiefs laying the 4 and under. I'm looking at 52.5 right now.
It was 53. It's 52.5 right now. Okay.
That's what I said.
1 minute
remaining. I'm sure it's adjusted a little bit since Kelsey is officially out.
All right. Lock of the week, Friday, tomorrow at Ruffino's. Go see the boys for lunch. I tell people all the time, man, make sure you're locked into Jimmy and Charles' show on Friday. And then, of course, Football Sunday as well. You want all the professional handicappers giving their best bets, their best picks. This is the place to get it all. So, all right, Otter, we appreciate it. Enjoy the night. We'll look for you tomorrow.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, be well. That's going to do it for us as always. Mike, what a great show. Great show today. Tons of football. We appreciate everybody who spent the day with us and the afternoon. Enjoy football tonight. I got Kansas City. I laid the 4 as well. Love the Chiefs tonight at home. It's hard to go against the champs on opening night. Muse, Paulie, y'all have a great night. Thanks so much for the help. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. Go Chiefs! That's great, man. But who are the chefs?
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Best way I can say it. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. They've done a really phenomenal job as well with testimonials. I've told you my story. 6th grade, started wearing glasses. 8th grade, contacts, had them all the way up until 5 years ago. We're coming up on my 5-year anniversary, as a matter of fact. September 11th, it will be my 5-year anniversary of LASIK. Dr. Blake Williamson changed my life. I know people who had LASIK, and they always said, best money I ever spent. Wish I'd done it sooner. I was always scared of the laser. It always heard it wears off. Had all the questions that a lot of you have. And a consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson convinced me why this was the best decision, and it's the best decision I ever could have made. Be the same for you. WilliamsonEye.com.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.